Oh, okay. So I did a promotional video, and now let's get to the seriousness of it. How I learned certain things specifically through my life, through the situations that I'm in, and when I do a deep dive and the lessons that I'm learning out of it. So one of the one of the lessons that I'm learning right now is when I was younger, there were individuals that tried to teach me certain things. And when I didn't learn it quickly enough for my own standards, even at a young age of like 6 or 7, when I didn't learn it fast enough, I got extremely upset with myself. And I had to do a lot of thinking as to why the fuck would an 8-year-old be so pissed off that they can't learn something quickly. It wasn't just about teasing or anything like that. Of course, we've all been teased. I'm sure you've experienced it, and so have myself to a great extent. But this was more deep-seated. So picture a child going up to an adult and asking for help. The first time, they give the child help. The second time, they give the child help. The third time, it becomes like a nuisance and annoying, and the adult responds in a negative manner. Now, the child doesn't understand the difference. It's more like negative repercussions. So they learn over time that if they go to an adult and they're being dismissed or treated like they're a burden, they're not going to really want to keep asking for specific help for that one thing. So that's one of the things that I ended up learning really early, is to be very hyper independent, because I found great pleasure and joy out of doing things on my own, and I was very proud of myself, and I really loved myself so much when I learned something quickly and I could do it on my own without any help. When I asked for help, a lot of the times it was treated as a bit of a bothersome task, or that I was taking away from the other person, or that it really was like a pain in the ass, we'll put it. That's how it was said to me. And not every adult that I approached and asked for help did this, but quite a bit of them did. And it usually stemmed from not just learning something the first time, but it's like, let's say they've already taught me how to do something, and they taught me their way how to do something properly. It should be done properly. And if it's not, then it became a bit of an issue. So I don't know if you can resonate with this, if you've ever experienced this. And it's really confusing to a child, because the child doesn't know that there's any limitations on asking for help. At that point, they just know that when they've asked for help before, they were helped, and then after a while it became a burden to the other person, and not wanting that negative repercussion, not wanting that adult to be angry or disappointed or something like that, is really puts a damper on a child, and it really weighs them down heavy. Now, carry this, what a child has learned from that, into adulthood. What happens is you get a lot of adults that are very hyper independent. They don't expect help from other people. They have mastered how to do things a certain way to a specific efficiency, so that when other people come into their bubble and maybe it's not done a certain way, that maybe they have a problem with that, or maybe they'll nitpick, or maybe they will purposefully go out of their way to kind of shame you a little bit for not knowing better, especially if they've tried to show you a way of doing things, or their way. Now, being open-minded as an adult is very important. Yes, we all have our ways of doing things, and yes, there's different ways of going about certain situations. And there's multiple ways of completing tasks. There's very efficient ways, and there's ways that are a little bit more tedious, but get things done to like a higher quality, so to speak, or just anything in general. Everybody has different input that they can use. And when it comes to working as a team, we should be working together. It's very important, and everybody's opinion is valid. And we could collaborate and use all our brain power together to combine it to make things run very smoothly, instead of everybody fighting against each other so hard. And for the longest time, I think even in my 20s, I battled with people so much because of the fact that I had a specific way of doing it, and I never really asked for help. So if other people kind of asked me for help, sometimes I would be willing to help because I want to share. Other times, if I was preoccupied, I'd be a little bit pissed off and annoyed, because I would assume at that stage, my unhealed stage, that they should know better. So why should I have to help them? Or I never got a free pass. Nobody helped me out when I needed help. So why should I help that individual? You know, that kind of negative attitude behind it. And it's not necessary and it's not really fair or just, but it is something that people do develop. And there's some people that go throughout their entire lives until they take it to the grave with them. That mentality that they never really had assistance, they never really got the help when they needed it, or they were treated like a burden. So why should another person be graced with their assistance, or why should another person be helped? Even one person doing things on their own that's hyper independent, there are some people out there, not myself personally, that would actually get jealous of another person being helped or assisted. Almost like, well, why do they get help and I never got help, sort of attitude. And I've really taken a look at this, and I've gone through the introspection to really pull this apart, because I really wanted to get an understanding why I would have such a hard time with in the past working with people, or when it comes to a person that is still in that mentality that hasn't learned the lesson, why I battle with them so hard. It's almost like I know that I've been there before. I know that I've been in that mentality of things need to be done a certain way, in a specific way, and if they're not, then I'll do it all myself. Or if you can't prove to me that you're good enough, that, oh, I'll just do it myself and I'll treat your work or whatever you put in or whatever effort you're making like it's nothing, right? And it's not fun on the receiving end. It's not fun to be treated like that. It's not fun to be dismissed. It's not fun to be treated like a pain in the ass or like you are a burden to anybody. It's not fun to be on the receiving end of it. And I've been on both sides of it, and I've understood both sides of it. And right now I'm trying to find a healthy balance between helping other people, but also putting myself first, understanding that other people do need more assistance than others, and that some get above and beyond the assistance, and they're so codependent on people that they will constantly keep asking, because it's almost like the opposite of that. Instead of hyper independence, they become so codependent on people to do things or help them out with things that they forget that they have the capacity to do it on their own. So it's really important to remember that when you're speaking to children, if you let them know that they can come to you for help, remember, the minute you start treating them as a burden or telling them to do it on their own in a negative way, not like, let's do it together, let's see how far you've got, let's see what you've worked on, is there any questions you have or something like that. More like, I've showed you how to do this already like 5 times, why are you coming to me and asking? You can do it on your own. Not that kind of mentality, because then it really is disheartening for a child to go through. And I speak from experience, and I've seen other children be shoved off to the side like that too. And my heart kind of sinks when I watch that. And then I've been in situations where I'm supposed to be working as a team, but unfortunately we're not on the same level at that time. And some people have matured more emotionally than others. And it is hard to get your point across or to work as a team with another person that is very stubborn or stuck in their ways. And had I said this like 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, I would be a real hypocrite about it. But right now I am trying to get the understanding across to you guys that you have to have a little bit of patience. Understand that if you've been on either spectrum of that, being codependent or being hyper independent, there's a huge gap there when it comes to communication that a lot of people are not explaining to other people on how they truly feel about certain situations and where it really stems from. And usually it stems from childhood. And we do, unfortunately, bring a lot of the traumas. It doesn't have to be physical. A lot of the traumas we do bring that are not healed into adulthood. And then we live our lives randomly, just like normal, everyday people, and we don't seem to understand the diversity of the traumas that people are carrying. A lot of people don't seem to understand that there's a lot of complications that are going to happen between people, and it's going to cause a lot of chaos and animosity or miscommunication when those traumas are not acknowledged. All right. So you can ask yourself, sit down with yourself, if there's anything really bothering you. There's still certain triggers that I have. Blatant disrespect is one of them. If somebody is talking to me in a manner that is like I am not equipped for a certain thing, or I'm not skilled at a certain thing, even though I have proven myself before, and then they turn around and talk to me as if I'm not good enough or something like that, is really going to be hard for me to stay calm, but I'm working on it. I'm acknowledging it right here, you guys. are my witness, okay? I'm acknowledging it right now that there are things that I'm still working through. There are healing moments that I still go through. And this is one of the things that I was truly thinking about today. I really took a long, hard look at some of the things and where it's all coming from. And I do remember when I was younger that I was expected, once I was taught a specific way, to be able to do this on my own. And it's great for children to learn that. But there's certain times where it becomes to the point where there's things that children do need help with, and then they don't ask for help because they're afraid of being a burden. They're afraid of being shamed. They're afraid of being told they should have known better, or why didn't they do it a certain way? And it really fucks with a child's mentality, and it's not okay. It's not really healthy, and it's not good for their development emotionally either. I tried to put those two together, development and emotion. All right, so take care of you guys. Please do. And you're more than welcome to like, share, subscribe, any of these videos. There's more out there. I've got over 1,000 now, and it's been 3 years running, okay? So hopefully that helps in some way, shape, or form. And you're not the only one out there that's gone through several things too, okay? Take care.